Right, I'm just going to do a quick follow-up review on this. My Tenpoint NXT Shadow, and as you can see, it is a lovely thing. It's the new range of bows from Tenpoint, where what they've done is they've narrowed down the width of the bow to make it much more compact and better for using in a hide or in a tree stand, as they do in the States and Canada. When you use these things for hunting deer and turkey and wild boar and all sorts really. And I think mainly this was in response to another crossbow manufacturer called Ravin that came out with a very compact bow, in fact almost the same dimensions as this, a couple of years ago, and sort of took the crossbow world by storm really, by the fact that they were so small, so compact, and also extremely accurate. And obviously Tenpoint, being one of the biggest manufacturers of bows, one of the best known and the oldest in the field, couldn't let that go, and they've come out with their variant of a similar sort of thing really, a really short, really compact bow. And I have to say that it is very good. They've done a great job. This thing's incredible. It's got this quad cam technology now, as I mentioned in my first review of it, but I've had a few more shots through it now. Done a fair bit of shooting with it, really got the hang of it now. So it's got 4 strings that run up here and go either side of the cams, and this makes the cams get a thing called cam lean, where the cam can tilt in the arms, and that obviously makes for inaccuracy and you lose a bit of power as well. So this quad cam thing here makes the bow more stable and helps keep the power up as well. It's really well made. You know, the quality of it, you can tell Tenpoint's one of the premier makers of crossbows. It's just finished beautifully. Everything's really well made. The fit, the finish, it's just, you know, you can just tell it's a quality item. It's just well made, well put together. It's really good. Rail is made out of a polymer composite. It's not an aluminium rail. The next bow up from this has an aluminium rail, a lightweight machined aluminium riser, CNC machined aluminium riser, which is slightly better, to be honest. It's lighter and possibly gives it a little bit more stability and accuracy, but I have to say this has got no complaints with this. At sort of 50 yards, even I can shoot off a Primos trigger stick. I can shoot inch and a half groups at 60 yards with this thing, which to be honest I'm quite surprised at. I'm very impressed. It's got a little brush retention system, so the arrow comes in here, the little brush keeps it running true down there. Trigger breaks at about 3.5 pounds. It's quite good. I'm getting used to it now, getting better used to it now. When you first use it, you know, it's like any new thing, it's difficult to get the feel of it to start with after just a couple of shots, but I've put about 30, 40, maybe 50 shots through this now, and the triggers, I'm there with the trigger now, I know when it's going to break, and obviously that vastly improves the accuracy when you know the trigger. Mine's got the AccuDraw loading system, as I showed in my other video where I was using it in the field, and the little sled just fits nicely in the stock there, locks itself in place. It's quite handy. Little handle also locks itself in place in the stock, so you know, everything's neatly put away and well thought out. It's got a really good safety catch, really obvious to see and use, nice and positive. Comes with a scope. As I mentioned before, the scope is non-speed adjustable, unfortunately, and it is slightly out on this bow. I think the scope's geared in for about 330 or 340 feet per second. The bow with the arrows provided is shooting at about 365. It can get 380 out of it, but that's with the lightweight bows that Tenpoint make, lightweight arrows, pardon me, that Tenpoint make. But the ones supplied with it kick out about 360, 365 feet per second. So there's a 30 feet per second difference between the scope and the arrows, which means that where the scope's geared up, so if you set it in at say 20 yards and then it should be, you aim at the 30 yard reticule in the scope and it should hit that target, it isn't. It's hitting it more at 35 yards. And then the 40 yard one is more 45, 50 is about 55. So it's an extra 5 yards on because of the high velocity, which, you know, you can compensate for when you've had a good few shots with it, but it's not ideal. So I will be putting on here either changing the scope altogether for a Hawk unit that's variable, or possibly buying an optimizer for it, which means that you can alter the range down to the nearest yard, which is even better still, because with that, as long as you've got a rangefinder with you, you know, you should be looking at pretty much hitting everything bang on. So far in the field it's been superb. It's really good, really accurate. Like I say, 1.5 inch groups at 50-60 yards. Haven't shot it further than 60 yet, just yet. I will be taking it out to try and stretch that range and see what it's capable of. What else? Stock, glass fibre reinforced, sort of ABS-y type thing. Camouflage is really nice on it. Finish is really nice on it. You know, they've obviously spent a bit of time in coming back at Ravin's bow and made a really good job of it, and it's a good few £100 cheaper than the Ravin as well. And I can't see myself what the Ravin would do for the extra couple of £100 that this can't, to be honest. To me, they both look pretty much similar. I mean, I've not shot a Ravin, I've seen one in the flesh, and they're very similar. For the extra £200 or £300, personally, I'd be tempted to stick with a Tenpoint, personally. Obviously people differ, as the Ravin has proved, because it's a very popular bow. But this thing's lovely, very accurate, very powerful as well. Really punches the arrows out. And the AccuDraw is so easy to load, and once you get the hang of it, it's fairly quick as well. Admittedly, it's noisy because it's got quite a noisy ratchet in it. You can get a different AccuDraw system to fit on these. You can get an AccuDraw Pro, which is quiet. There's no ratchet noise to that, but again, it's more expensive if you're that bothered about the noise. But to be honest, you're going to load it anyway before you go out shooting, and you're only allowed to target shoot in this country anyway. So the fact that it's making a cranking noise when you're shooting targets is immaterial, really. The only people that are likely to be worried about the cranking noise are those that live in countries where it's permissible to hunt these things. But for target shooting, it is good fun, really good fun. It's a great bit of kit, and it's a lovely looking thing and really well put together. So there you go, thank you.